All right. So let's move on. I just want to touch on one or two more things, I think, and then I'm gonna get out of here because I want to go get my crawfish. All right. So y'all, Jonathan Majors. Okay. And I'm just speaking on this because even though I am sure this is true and I really want to have compassion, but I also feel like it's giving, and I could be wrong, y'all. I'm open to being wrong. But I feel like Jonathan Majors is giving. Okay. So when you've done something or something has happened that causes the public to not like you, you put in, the work in one way or another to get them to like you again. But at some point, you're going to invoke something that is going to get sympathy from you, like sympathy for you, right? So to me, this is that. I'm going to have compassion for anybody that's gone through this because that's me. But it absolutely feels like this is just another bullet point in the plan to get him back to where he was before the Grace Jabari situation happened. And I feel like it's the same thing, and I could be wrong, as DDG in showing us his legs. You want us to feel sorry for you because if we feel sorry for you, then maybe we can stop feeling like you ain't want to support you again. That's what it feels like to me. Okay, let me read the story. Jonathan Major says he was abused as a child by both men and women. Speaking publicly about his trauma for the first time in an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, I had to face it, Major shared. I talked about it in therapy with my pastor. That's a red flag. Your therapist should not, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't feel like therapists should have the background of church or any religion. I just don't. Because I always feel like whatever religious stuff, whatever religious rhetoric is sometimes not good for the person. It's just not. But you're going to push it because that's what you believe. I don't feel like those, like separation of church and state, it should be separation of church and therapy. Okay. The actor, who was sentenced in April 2024 for misdemeanor assault, also spoke about his father leaving when he was 8 years old and how that shaped his life. He recently opened up to his mother about the abuse, saying she apologized for not being able to protect me. Major says he's now focused on healing and understanding how his past has shaped him. I'm learning, I'm growing. That's all I can do. So, another thing this reminds me of is how men, and it doesn't discredit their abuse, y'all. Please understand me. But I feel like we ignore the way people use their abuse sometimes in order to trauma bond with women. I feel like a lot of men who have been abused, they don't exactly heal from the abuse, but they learn how to use the abuse as a tool to manipulate other people. Okay. And I feel like you probably trauma bonded with Megan Good about your abuse, which is why she was walking head held high with you in that courtroom where she really had no business being. You are not his wife. Y'all had just started that relationship, and there was probably some overlap between you and Grace Jabari. So if anything, you should have been rooting rooting for him behind the scenes from afar, but not using your image as a Black woman to protect him. And that's what she was doing. And I feel like a lot of the times that happens because men, and not just men, women too, will use their abuse to manipulate and pull people in so that they can then abuse those people. And I'm not saying that Megan and him are in an abusive relationship. Again, I don't know. But I know how we respond to these things. I know how I myself have been pulled in with people because, on the first or second, third meeting, whether we friends or, on a date where you're telling me about your childhood trauma, and it's so that I can then empathize with you. If I can empathize with you, then I care about you. Right. And that means I'm going to take your side if I empathize with you. If I see how you've been harmed, I am now going to feel like I need to protect you. As an empathetic person, that is how that has worked on me in the past. People coming to me with very true stories of abuse as a way to manipulate me into taking their side. Like I'm sorry, like that's just like a common occurrence. And I just feel like whenever stuff is happening with Megan Good and Jonathan Majors on the internet, it tends to give manipulation. Yes, real, you know. I do feel like she really loves him. I think he is really attracted to her. Um, I think he's a very good actor, but I also feel like he's manipulative and volatile. And the more he tells us about him, it doesn't create the same manipulation in me, but it does make me aware of what your trauma, how that will cause you to be abusive to other people. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely can. And also, y'all, have y'all seen the previews for the movie that he came out with, where he, he's the boxer, or not the boxer, the what is it? Y'all know what I'm talking about. He had that new movie coming out that he wanted to do, magazine something. I can't remember, child. Um, but it looks like him playing himself. Like it looks like him being an excellent actor, but playing himself in a very weird, desperate way. Bodybuilder, Mr. Magazine. Thank you. Thank you. The bodybuilder thing. Yes. It seems dark, but it also seems like him being himself. He's playing himself in that role. That's what that felt to me. And that's sometimes a lot of the, you don't know these people. You don't know who actors really are. You don't know who anybody really is in real life. Like people always show you a representative. So, just the fact that he's able to extend himself into that role means in some way he can identify, right? Magazine Dreams. Okay. That's what I said about Mark Wahlberg in Fear. Oh yeah, and child, that's a part of the look. I seen posts about using Mark Wahlberg. The reason why I like Toxic Men. Started with some of these movies where y'all got us falling in love with a nigga that's beating his chest and cutting that girl daddy out the picture and shit. Like that was weird. Okay.